revised
Okie dokie.
if there's changes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, 6:30 meeting start.
I don't know, they do up at the garden, yeah. It's starting.
Okay, if we could, we're gonna go ahead and start. Go ahead and call the meeting to order. I'd like to read the following. This agenda item provides an opportunity for citizens to address the board or committee on any matter that is not posted on the agenda. Anyone wishing to address the board or committee should complete a citizen comments registration form and submit it to the board liaison or board chair prior to the start of the meeting. There's a 3-minute time limit for each citizen to speak with a reasonable limitation on speakers on one topic or item with a maximum of 15 total minutes on the same topic item. Anyone wishing to speak shall be courteous and cordial. Board or committee is not permitted to take action on any subject raised by a speaker during citizen comments. However, the chair may have the item placed on a future agenda for action, refer the item to the city administration for further study or action, briefly state existing city policy, or provide a brief statement or factual information in response to the inquiry. So welcome. We have 2 guests today. Does either one of you want to say anything to the council? To the board? Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Okay, if we could, let's go to agenda item C1, consider approval of minutes for the May 15th, 2025 meeting and take appropriate action. Does anybody have any comments on the minutes? So I have it's not really a question, just actually more of a question. So with the other notes, the board notes that were taken by Jennifer, so we don't approve those. There's nothing, they're just there.
They're just part of the package.
Okay, all right. Okay, does anybody have any?
Document it.
Pardon me?
They're just documented.
Okay, does anybody have any comments or any corrections that need to be done on the actual minutes or the official minutes? If not, can we get a motion to approve as presented?
So moved.
Okay, so, Jan made the motion. Does anyone make a second?
Second.
Okay, Barbara made the second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion's approved. Okay, let's go to C2, agenda item C2, which is update on the community garden. Okay, so for our last meeting, we gave the feedback that we heard from Roger Neal, representing District 5. And then we made assignments for people to reach out to each one of the different board members so that we'd be able to get feedback from each one of the other board members. I have feedback from Tina Bennett Burton from number 2. But before we go to that, Adrian, do you have feedback from Elizabeth Villafranca from position number 4?
She gave me her approval or assurance that she is for the community garden and for very positive feedback for the community garden.
Okay, that's fantastic. But did she have any thoughts about, because remember what we were really trying to find out is that they haven't.
She did not have any details.
Okay, she's just a opponent.
Yes,
Okay.
she's new.
Okay.
She is, I know she was, according to Barbara, she was at the day that they had the work day. And so she's just getting her feet wet, but she is definitely pro community garden, so.
Okay. Good, thank you, Adrian. Thank you for finding that out. Okay, so Barbara had double duty. Barbara was gonna reach out to Omar Roman in position number 1 and David Reed in position number 3. What were you?
Well, and again, I discussed David Reed last week, that he is for the garden.
Oh, somehow I missed that then. Sorry. I thought you said you weren't ready to talk about your
Well,
conversation
there
with
was,
David last week.
he had made some statements that I have found to be, he was mistaken on, but he is in favor of the garden.
Okay,
I spoke with, Roman at the, Squire Park
okay,
thing, and he was, unaware of the move. He would not necessarily be in favor of a move unless it was absolutely necessary. He is a proponent of the garden, but moving the garden until it's absolutely necessary, he thinks would incur costs that he'd be very cautious about
okay.
supporting.
Okay, anything else from David Reed or from Omar? Okay, thank you both. Thank you, for finding that out. So here's how the conversation with Tina Bennett Burton. I reached out to Tina And at first, the conversation went something along the lines of, she was under the understanding that the garden was going to have to be moved and that it was imminent. And I said, well, we weren't aware that it was imminent. And she said, well, let me check, let me circle back with Ben Williamson and find out, let me circle back with you. So the initial conversation was, yes, it's got to be moved. In fact, she even went further and said, there are two specific sites that are, that have been determined as to be the two prime potential sites to relocate to, if it's moved, right? Yeah, but once again, forgive me, I'm not communicating effectively. The first conversation was, she thought it was imminent. She thought it had to happen right away, and here's the two sites. And the two sites that she cited was, one of them was the one we already talked about, which is south of Menske Library, but north of the fire station. That's one, that site that she thought was kind of a prime consideration. The other one was where the existing rose gardens are south of that. And it wasn't clear to me exactly where she was talking about, but it was, and I said, are you saying we would take a portion of the existing rose gardens? She says, no, there's a spot. So, anyway, those are the two spots, she said. And once again, the initial conversation was, her thought it was imminent. I said, well, that's new to us. And if that's the case, then, you know, that changes everything. But she was going to check with Ben Williamson and get back to me. She got right to Ben Williamson and came right back to me and said, I was wrong. Well, I was not wrong, is not the word. I was incorrect information. It's not imminent, but the feeling is, or the consensus is, eventually the community gardens will have to move because it's not on city property now, and that it's, her understanding was owned by the church. And originally there was thought that the church was going to have to sell the property, or was asked us to, or do something with the property. So she says it's not imminent, but at some point in time, we need to consider where we're gonna move the community garden. And she said, in her opinion, that those are the two spots, but it's not imminent, okay? Now, if I go back to what Roger Neal said, Roger Neal, his initial reaction was, he's a proponent of it, let's just keep it where it is, and he was concerned about the cost. Why would we incur the cost? And so that's where, once she got more information, she says, okay, that's kind of where she is now. But what I took away from the conversation with her was, I would personally like to know more about these two sites. And actually, I'd like to go physically look at them so that I could understand exactly where they are. So my question to you, Robert, is if we could find out exactly where they were, perhaps we could set up a specific time to go see them and go actually look at them as a group, or if you just let them know where they are, we can each, as on our own time, go by and check it out. Now, one thing that she said was a consideration was she wanted to be on, or the consensus was that the feeling was they wanted to have it on city property and also want to make sure there was parking available. And she claimed that both those sites, south of Menske Library, north of the fire station, and somewhere south of the existing rose garden, there was existing parking, which was a good thing. So she wanted to make sure that it was going to be accessible. But, so that's, if you will, to do, I would like to, based upon this feedback, is so we have a better understanding. I actually want to physically go and actually look just to be able to picture what the two sides are in consideration.
Okay.
Any thoughts, comments, reactions? It sounds like, the good news is, it sounds like everybody on the city council is pro community garden. And the question is, once again, there was a misunderstanding about the timing, but there is a feeling that, well, eventually it's gonna have to move. So why not go ahead and, not, nobody's pushing for it, but let's at least figure out what it is. So when that time comes, it could be the time's far off in the future, but we just have a game plan for what we're gonna do. Any other thoughts, comments?
Do you know which of the two rose gardens she was talking about?
The big one. Well, you know what? I believe it was the big one. I even asked her, I said, you take anything apart? Not the smaller one that's over there west of the big one. I'm talking about the big one that's right there on Valley View, just south of Valley View.
South of the big one?
That's, but once again, let's find out, because I could be wrong. Once again, I could be wrong, and maybe I'm completely confused about what she's talking about, but let's find out what it is so we can go check it out.
Well, what I could do is look at the next meeting, just bring it back some more information that I, try to find out. And I know we have, there's also preliminary budget meetings of the council starting on Tuesday next week. So there's a special call meeting. I don't know if that's going to be part of that discussion or not. They're still working on what they're actually going to be talking about, but we're in the budget now. So I would assume it's probably going to come up at some point. I just couldn't tell you exactly when, so.
Okay,
But I can bring back updates on the sites and possibly any kind of, you know, budget, feedback if there is any by the time, because we won't meet again until August. So by then we should, that typically, you know, this time of year up and through the July, we'll kind of hammer out the budget. So,
okay.
yeah,
And I will say, as a member of the church that, on which that property sit, that garden sits, there's a lot going on that may delay the whole idea of property being sold and the need for it to move. So there's nothing imminent that needs to
Okay.
happen with the garden in terms of it changing hands right now or changing locations right now.
Good. So the good news from that too is it's a great garden. It's, you know, people are happy with it. We got people supporting it. At some point in time, we need to think about relocating, but it doesn't sound like it's, I mean, from one of the meetings, we had a couple of meetings ago, I got the impression that it was gonna happen sooner rather than later. So,
There was some misinformation floating out there that, that it was imminent, and it's really not.
good. Anything else on that? Okay, if not, let's go to C3, review policy on board absences, ordinance number 3730.
board, I won't read the, you know, the entire ordinance. This is just more of a reminder to you all about how we calculate absences. Just wanted you all to be aware of the process, the ordinance. Many of you have been on the board for quite a while, so you're pretty familiar with it. If there's any, we will, there is a letter attached that kind of gives you an idea of kind of how we approach it. I did find out it's pretty much, it's gonna be staff monitoring this, not city secretary. So I'll work with Linda on making sure we keep correct attendance and things like that, stay on top of that, and but you get somewhat of a warning letter, and then you get the actual letter, you know, and so we've got a template now, we've got kind of our marching orders on how that, you know, this was all in place, but it just kind of, I think from a staff, we're under the impression the city secretary's office would kind of generate a response. But we did find that out. It's really staff, the liaison's responsibility to kind of look at that. So if there's no question, I don't want to go through all the order, but if there's any questions or anything, let me know. But there's not, but that's really all we wanted to do is just kind of remind the board of the process.
Okay, thank you for doing that. Any question or comment on that? If not, let's go to C4, receive an update regarding transcribing park board minutes.
So this is kind of similar vein to the last one. It's just more of an update on kind of how we approach minutes now. Staff's responsible for minutes. Linda Gossin, our admin, is gonna be will be keeping the minutes, and her and I will be working through those minutes before each meeting. If the board wants to continue having a secretary, that's fine. That person can always take minutes or take notes, and then those notes will be attached to the packet as they are this time. And they'll just be considered notes. They won't be the voted on minutes for the meeting. Just understand too, even though staff's gonna be taking the minutes, board still has to approve the minutes. So if there's things that are missed, so make sure you as a board are reviewing the minutes. And if there's things that we missed that you feel need to be on the minutes, you're more than happy to bring those up. We can always add those before you approve them at a meeting. So I think the big key on all this is just make sure you're reviewing those minutes to make sure we capture everything that needs to be. And luckily we do have video now, and I think that's a part of this whole conversation as well, is that, you know, video captures everything. So really the minutes should just be a kind of a quick version of the meeting, the action items, you know, to be able to kind of refer back to. But the video is gonna be, it captures everything. So we don't have to get verbatim everything for those minutes. So that's all I have. There's any questions on that?
Thank you, Robert, and also thank you, Linda, for taking the minutes. Appreciate it. Thank you. Any other comments, questions on that? Okay, if not, let's move to C5, receive the Recreation Division update.
Yes, so each of you have a polo Parks and Recreation Department shirt. in front of you, as well as an NRPA shirt. We ask that you wear either or at the July 10th birthday party and any other pop-ups that you attend during the month of July's recognition for National Parks and Recreation Association. I also just wanted to make sure the board was aware that the Teen Leadership Program and Arbano Olivas are contributing out at the community garden this summer, shaving boxes and taking different things out there and having the kids learn about the environment and vegetables and growing them. It's super, super neat and super cool because a lot of them, they don't realize that you can actually grow your own vegetables in your backyard.
We were with the first cohort that came through. We still had carrots and things. We pull them off the ground and clean them and hand them to the kids. Some of these kids are like, I don't eat those without ranch. Do you have ranch?
You don't grow ranch.
But then yesterday, I got kids, we had cherry tomatoes. I got kids to take, and they're like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, get what you get in the grocery store has been picked green, gassed, and it's not gonna taste anything like what you get 30 seconds off the plant.
Yeah.
And it's taking hold in a couple of them.
They're definitely enjoying it. And so I would like to see this program with the teens coming to the community garden continue. And even, we used to do it when I was back in like 2013, when I was part of the teen leadership program, we would also go to the Rose Garden and do a lot of activities out there. So I would like to see them return to those types of things outdoors. So thank you
They're
to
fun to
you and
have.
the team. Yes. Feedback from our events review subcommittee. Jennifer Nelson Smith is out today. We had our last meeting one of our most recent meetings a couple weeks ago. And we basically discussed wrapping up what they were in support of to input into the budget to request the funds for an adult pop-up series. The event review subcommittee has identified a lot of family events that the city currently puts on and activities and things to do for families and for adults with kids, but with having more younger adults, single adults moving into Farmers Branch, there's really not much to do that is just for adults only. And so they're thinking, whether we put a musician up at the amphitheater and have a couple of food trucks out there, there's just adult night, we have maybe an adult prom at the Branch Connection and have a band perform there, just a variety of different, I would consider it a small event. So you're not gonna have a huge kid zone. You're not gonna have a huge production of staff, just an adult only themed event. We also requested funds to support the Branch Arts Live, which is an extension of the Gateway to the Globe. And so different cultures, a lot of community performances. So through the CFB ISD community, Brookhaven community, and then just neighboring arts, Farmers Branch artists. It's a whole bunch of fun things. And so we are looking to support them from an infrastructure standpoint. So providing them with a tent, a stage, food for volunteers, water for volunteers, and then of course, anything safety related. So we have also put that into the budget, requested for it. And then lastly, community outreach. And so getting into the schools, getting involved in the schools, which is what I talked about at our last board meeting. There's a little bit of a financial impact on there just because we might want to, take school pencils or erasers or different things like that. For field day, maybe provide fresh cut fruit for their field day or just different outreach opportunities. And so that's what we've kind of binded up and submitted in our budget, and we'll watch it kind of flow through the budget process. And then by mid to late August, we should be able to have a better point at our next meeting to know where we're at, so we can provide another update at that time. So where I'm at so far, does anyone have any questions? No? Okay. Another update, our aquatics assistant manager, Haley Hamilton, is no longer employed with the city. Ashley Munoz, Recreation Manager, who came from the Aquatic Center, is overseeing the Aquatics Division. And then Eliana Vasquez, who's our Recreation Center Assistant Manager, she has stepped up into the role of managing the facility, along with Celeste, which is our analyst, and Kate, who's overseeing Summer Sunshine. Yes, and then we discussed last time about Paul and him having the baby. And the Aquatic Center still has Cassandra Wilder, who's their coordinator, and Allie Chambers, who's their specialist as well. July pop-up volunteer opportunities attached. There are different opportunities that you can submit your information. If you are paper, you can give it to me this way, or if you want to take it home, review it and scan it over to me, that's fine too. Drop it by City Hall, drop it here, and the staff will get it to me. There's also, for the remaining, the large events, opportunities for the rest of the year. I know you guys were interested in Christmas, and so those opportunities are there. You can go ahead and we can get you squared away now, so that way we don't lose sight of that in the fall. And then we also have Independence Day, which is coming up soon. So if you're interested in that, just let us know. And then Halloween in the park. And so we've kind of broke it up differently. We've got a guest services, an activity coordinator, so just conversating with the people in the kids zone area, and then food and beverage assistants, monitoring the lines, talking to people, getting their feedback on the event. It's mostly event feedback is what we're looking for from the board members.
So question on December 6th, the Christmas Carnival event. So in the past, we all worked at the Santa house. So I'm just curious, does that mean now we're not gonna work the Santa house and we're just doing something different? I was a little confused by that.
So we're not going to have exactly the Santa house. We're trying to still work on exactly what I think it's gonna be like the gazebo is what I think is where it's been.
Yeah.
Where it's been the last
Yeah,
couple of
yeah,
years.
I call it Santa house. It's in the gazebo.
The
sorry.
gazebo,
Yeah.
we're still working that out, but we still wanted to give these opportunities at these different positions as an opportunity. If there is that, we can reassess at that time, but if you want to do guest services, activity coordinator, food and beverages, you can sign there as well.
Okay, if some of this board did do that,
Yes.
and then the Santa and the
Yes.
gazebo pops up, are you gonna solicit some other volunteers
No.
to help at the gazebo?
I'm gonna have you guys go to the gazebo and then also solicit volunteers to fill these.
Gotcha,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
So the gazebo's ours if it happens.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
No,
Oh, yeah,
just
definitely.
clarifying, so we have enough people. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Make sure we have enough people in the right places.
Yes.
That's right.
Let's
Okay,
see.
can I ask a question about some of these other, which is the NRPA month specific volunteer task order? You're not there yet. I don't want to get ahead of you. Sorry.
The task information, which is done, I just have Barneywood concession stand and then I'll be done. So I just wanted to give an update on the Barneywood concession stand. I know Jennifer isn't here, but I can relay this back to her. So where we're at with that, Parks went in and made some updates that needed to be made in order to get passed through the health inspector. We've gotten that far. Now we are waiting for an assessment with our ice vending machine. Once that gets completed, we're gonna do a deep clean of the entire facility and then run it through permitting to make sure we can get a permit for the summer. And then we'll have JBW, who operates the lily pad outside of the aquatic center, sell concessions through there. And so I know Jennifer had mentioned a few meetings back about having that open and available for people that may just be walking the trail or be at the dog park or skate park or even coming into the rec center to have opportunities for purchase there. And so we're working on
What's the
that.
timing on that?
I would hope that the timing,
The ice machine should have been done this week and hopefully they'll be getting the deep clean this coming week.
so,
So you're looking at maybe
Following
4th of
week.
July.
Well, I guess they've got to get the vendor situated back with it and then we should be good. Because the health inspector needs to run through it one more time just to check, make sure everything's good on the building.
And that's a city health inspector.
Yes, ma'am.
And then what kind of hours will it operate? Do you know yet?
I don't have that yet just because their full priority is the aquatic center.
Sure.
And so I could assume there would be heavily Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
But I'd also like to see maybe some pop-up like coffees in the morning. I know it's hot outside, but have that be an opportunity. Just depends on their staffing level,
Okay.
and then what they see at the dog park.
Sure. Okay, to be determined as far
Yes.
as specifics. Okay.
Yes.
So can I ask you a question now about the 9 items listed here under NRPA monthly specific volunteer tasks? Okay, so for example, number 1, John F. Burke Nature Provided Guided Tour, July 8 to 9 AM. I'm just curious, if we volunteer to do that, who are we guiding? Like, who's gonna be the audience?
We're hopeful the residents will come out to these opportunities.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay, and then, so same thing with Gussie Field Waterworth guided tour,
It would be, so we're inviting residents and non-residents,
okay?
to come out, and there'll be a hard marketing push starting July 1st for all of these different pop-up events to celebrate NRPA.
Okay, and then, for example, and forgive me, I'm asking about the ones that I might be able to do, sorry. Community garden demo, once again, it could just be, people in the community, just, okay. Now, what's the process? Do we just send you an email saying, okay, I can do this one, this one, this one, or?
Mhm.
Okay, all right. Any other questions or comments on this? Thank you. Thank you, Jessica, appreciate it, thank you. Okay, so now let's go to C6, Receive Parks Division update.
Been a very, very busy spring. This week, we had 72,000 square foot of sod laid out at Mercer Park. Get rid of some of the bare dirt out there. I don't know if, last time we met that I let y'all know that we did brought in about 34 trees on the south side of that park. So everything pretty much on the south side is done as far as landscape wise for right now to hold all the soil back. We're still in the development stage as far as what all of what we're going to put in there. Still needs to go to council, and that goes, I believe this next council meeting, is that correct, Robert?
Yeah, we're gonna do a work session with council on July 1st. At that meeting, a study session item to review the dates from Mercer. But we did discuss the park with them at the end of last year. We got some information and we'll get them updated at that meeting. And so probably for August, we'll kind of have an update for you all on the development side. So, but for the most part, the southern end of the park where the trail is pretty much a completed park between turf and grass and trail. There's also benches the developer put in as well. We've added trash cans.
Trash cans. The
So,
only thing lacking pretty much is lighting eventually, and on that side, it's designed supposedly, we're supposed to eventually get like a pavilion and a playground on that side. That's all it has to do with the planning as far as finishing up with the rest of the stuff.
yeah, hoping once we firm up the scope, and everything with council, we'll be able to move forward and we'll get the board updated on that once we get into design, we'll be getting the board updates on design when we get that further along.
And as far as everything else that we've got going on, it's just, right now, it's catch up because of all the rain. Every time we've had rain almost once, twice a week, and it just keeps putting us back. Our contract that we have with our mowing contractor, he's so far behind as far as getting caught up himself, so we're behind and trying to get caught up with all the weather, so. This week's been a great, other than Monday, so. That's about all I've really got right now.
Thank you, Mark. Any
Yes, sir.
other questions or comments from Mark? Thank you. Let's go to C7, Receive Parks and Recreation Department Departmental Project Update.
I gotta get my eyeballs. I'm kind of jumping in for Tara. She was ill this afternoon and went home, wouldn't be able to come to the meeting tonight. Of course, we're keeping the project page updated, the one that's on the website we've showed you all. But the biggest thing coming up, we have our Squire, next event for Squire, which is gonna be next Wednesday at the park. We had a good, meeting at Vivian Field on June 5th. David, I think you were at that one, actually. You went to June 5th.
I was there briefly.
Yes,
too.
and Barbara was there. So we had good, of course, we'd love to have 50 people there. I'd like, but I think the folks that showed up had some good feedback and, I know staff was really excited to engage with all the people, all the ones that showed up. Bless you. Tara did also include kind of where we are bless you, with some of our, survey that we've got out. We've had out for, I believe, 6 weeks or so. Just getting some kind of raw data. It will continue to stay open through, at least through next week when we're doing our, because one of the pushes next week at the event at Squires to get those that haven't done the survey to be able to, we'll have ability for them to do the survey there. We're looking at some other things to garner, feedback with the survey. But I mean, the big push is just to kind of drum up community support, and, you know, have a festive, hopefully weather holds out and we'll be in good shape with that. So we're excited about that. Does anybody have any questions on Squire or anything like that coming up?
Yeah, so the question I have is, so we had this session on June 5th. Approximately how many people were there in person?
I want to say we had probably 10 to 15 that were there that were citizenry. I mean, we had quite a few staff and things there, and council and board members and things, so.
So the reason why I asked is because I thought it was fascinating, because if you read this the introductory verbiage, it talks about the 3 things that came out of that June 5th meeting: enhanced landscaping, consideration for incorporating a dog park, and upgrading existing park amenities. But what's fascinating is, as you look through the actual survey data, which has a lot more people participating in the survey data, is virtually no mention whatsoever of dog park.
Right.
No mention whatsoever.
Right.
So my question is, how serious are we about putting a dog park at Squire, based upon just, my guess is that we got a small group of people who showed up in person,
Right.
but then nobody even mentions on the survey. I'm just curious, how serious is dog park when it's not even mentioned in?
Well, what we'll do, we'll have, we'll put synopsis of all the different interactions we've had at outreach, provide all that information, you know, to council when, we discuss final scope with them, so they see the complete picture. So we'll let them know, okay, this information shows what we did at that. We'll have, information from the June 5th. We'll have information from the outreach next week. We'll have the survey data. So we'll kind of package it all, let them see everything. We'll probably, from the survey data, because it's more hard data, we'll be able to really have a more finite.
Yeah.
The rest of the response will be more just in feedback, bullets like, and, maybe some of the things discussed. So that way they have a complete picture of what we've had. So it's just kind of part of the whole package. It's not gonna be the be all and all, especially if you're not seeing survey data to kind of back that up. I think that's probably gonna be where we have a lot of I would say a lot of the decisions would be more, that's because it's more of the hard data. At least when it comes to scope, that would probably be where we rely on most, but you never know. Once we get into conversations, that could change.
And it looks like she was just summarizing the synopsis from May 7th, from the May 7th.
You mean June 5th?
May
No.
7th about the dog park, the interest in dog park.
May 7th was the virtual one we had.
Oh, okay.
And then, no, I think it's.
No, I thought it
This one
was,
right here says May
Well,
7th, interest in a dog
here's-
park.
here's what I'm trying to say, is my initial reaction reading this, I thought, we have a fantastic dog park. It is fantastic. And we got a big dog for the big dogs and for the little dogs. It's fantastic. But my guess is it was expensive infrastructure to put all that infrastructure together.
Right.
And then, my initial impression was, okay, there's somebody who's vocal in a small group saying he wants a dog park, but then nobody else is mentioning the dog park. So my spidey sense was tingling, if you will, like, wait a minute, do we really need a dog park? We got a great dog park right here. Do we really need to recreate that at Squire Park? So,
And that probably, and that's probably what we discussed at that level too,
okay,
is, we have one already, and I don't know if we need another one. I don't know if that park
right.
supports having a dog park there, but, we want to take everybody's opinion.
No.
So, yeah.
You've done a great job of that.
Yeah, she's done a great job of.
Yeah.
And and it's kind of leveled off, but what we're hoping is with the outreach on next week, that'll kind of push it again. So,
Would it be logical to say that whatever we look at, no matter what they ask for, that we're gonna evaluate that from the standpoint of what is realistic to do, not only in that park, but any other park? Because if we start putting in pick one, a splash pad, free splash pad there, I can imagine there'll be multiple other neighborhoods that want a splash pad.
Right.
And I don't know that that's realistic to do that financially or geographically.
right. And I think that's part of when the scope is discussed,
Yeah.
that'll
Okay.
be probably part of that conversation.
What time is the meeting on next Wednesday?
6 to 8.
Wednesday.
And gonna have bounce house, food truck.
We'll have, two large yard games, I think it's like Connect Four and what the other one is, and then an inflatable basketball, since like the kind of key focus of this park is basketball. And then we'll also have a DJ there, and then we will have an elote cart with 200 cups of elotes, and then we'll have a taco vendor for adults. They'll get a plate of 2 tacos, rice and beans, and I think an agua fresca. If not, we'll have plenty of waters and drinks. And then for the kids, and then once the tacos run out, our chef here, food handler, will be making hot dogs. So different, I think like beef hot dogs and regular hot dogs and hot dogs. So it's gonna be a great time. I plan to like scream for the community to come out, because I mean, how important is it to have those neighbors who live in that vicinity to be able to vote and determine what they want in the park. We're going to have different stations. Tara's gonna have different stations set up so we can gather feedback, whether it's a Spanish speaker or whether it's a kid that's wanting to draw kind of what they're thinking, or it's an adult who's wanting to put a sticky note on something to kind of pinpoint the areas that they're thinking. And so we're hoping to gain lots of feedback from that neighborhood and the surrounding area. And we're excited for it. If you guys come out, you're more than welcome to wear your polo. I know it's gonna be a little bit hot, so there's that t-shirt as well. Whatever works for you, but if you wanna wear the polo, it's available. And for the ones that weren't here tonight, we'll get you that before next week.
Thank you. Thanks for getting us polos too.
Yeah, expect it in the mail.
I feel like I'm official now. Okay, anything else on this particular topic?
Not on, well, I have just a few more updates. We have been in contact with the vendor for the Wiggle Round, piece of equipment that we're working with Rotary on, and I want to say we're taking delivery soon, right, Mark?
Our guys in the field, they are prepping the area this week. I believe it's supposed to be delivered Monday. They're starting their part of the construction part, that week, and then the following week, they're supposed to do the, pour in place area around it. So hopefully by 4th of July weekend or the Saturday after, it'll all be open and ready to be used.
So we'll definitely have pictures at the August meeting.
Ships
Which you'll
out
update.
Friday, it's supposed to be here Monday.
Dutch Village is still in kind of prep mode. The equipment's been on order. Do we have an ETA on when that'll be in?
It's 14 to 15 weeks
Yeah,
somewhere in there, so we're still.
Sometime
ways out.
it's probably later this summer. We'll start hopefully have an ETA on that. Probably by August, we'll have probably more of a date on that. And then lastly, I just want to let everybody know, we are doing some Hoyer repairs. We've been working on a lot of just outstanding items with Compan, the vendor, some repair work, some warranty work. Hopefully get those done tomorrow. It's been closed this week. But we've been updating the website. We've got closed signs on it. So if for some reason it needs to stay closed, we'll notify everybody that it will. So, just wanted to get everybody up, and then all our other project updates are on the website. So Mark, did I miss anything?
No, yeah.
So
Okay.
forgive me, the We Go Around, which park is that again?
That's the one at Gussie Field,
Gussie Field, that's right.
at the playground.
That's right.
That's a kind of an enclosed, merry-go-round that accepts all the people.
And that was from the Rotary Club, right?
Correct. We got a donation from the Rotary Club of $40,000 for that project. It was
Nice.
almost half, so.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love that Rotary Club.
Yeah,
Anybody else? Anything else? Okay, if not, let's go to C8, receive an update from board members on parks, programs, events, or facilities attended in the City of Farmers Branch. So I'll start off with, the Terry Lynn Town Hall meeting on May 29th. That was really well done. I'm really glad that he did that. It was a really good conversation. I actually have a question for you guys, kind of on a personal note. I'm new to Farmers Branch, and there was a lot of discussion about homeless people. And, prior to moving to Farmers Branch, my church was very involved, and we participated in helping homeless people at the Stoop Lot and also the bridge downtown. So my question is, what do we have, if anything, we have in Farmers Branch to try to help homeless people? Are there any particular churches that are helping homeless people? Are there any particular things that are being done in the city of Farmers Branch to help? homeless
Most of it feeds through MetroCrest because
MetroCrest.
they service the citizens and any citizens in need that are in the area.
people? But they're in
and there are-
Carrollton, right?
Well, physically, yes, now they're in Carrollton, but they service Farmers Branch, Carrollton, Coppell, and Addison residents.
The
And
Quad Cities, yeah.
there are Farmers Branch residents who participate in various programs through MetroCrest, whether it's taking food out or, or working at, obviously, the community garden takes hundreds of pounds of food.
Yeah.
Fresh produce, which is critical. They're very short on food right now, looking for donations for that, but, and from everything I've ever read and even some people I've talked with, if that is a better way to help them is through an agency that's vetting them and has all the right training and everything, than for some churches go out and try to do their own thing, and that doesn't always work as well as if you work through an agency. But there are local churches. There's Sac Summer Hunger that MetroCrest is doing right now for kids this summer that are in need. Every Saturday, they get a week's worth of groceries, and there are multiple churches, Christ UMC, Chapel Hill, others that are helping with that program because obviously MetroCrest needs feet on the ground to do that. So they are an excellent facility. It really meets a lot of needs for homeless and maybe some that are not homeless, but on the border
Right.
and need assistance. So,
Thank you.
mhm.
Thank you for that. Appreciate you. Thank you. Any other comment on the Terry Lynn Town Hall? If not, the other event, the June 10th grand reopening of the Branch Connection, I thought that was fantastic. I got a great band, and a lot of people there, just really, I thought that was fantastic.
Facility's lovely.
Yeah,
And
it is.
they're opening, I understand they're beginning to start some of the same programs, but a few new programs that they're talking about getting going. So they seem to be meeting a lot of needs and interests. But it was great.
Yeah,
Residents were very impressed.
Yeah.
Just walking around and listening,
Mhm.
very, very impressed.
great event. Yeah, very well done.
Yep.
By the time I got there, all the food was gone, but still, it's fantastic.
You could have been there early and the food went really fast that night.
It's all good.
The pool's been good. I go to class over at the natatorium, and of course, I've been seeing a lot of kids going to the swim classes. Looks like that's going gangbusters. And the rec centers, I usually go here at least once a week, so.
Well, and I was
Everything's
at I was at the historical park last week. They gave some of the friends at the historical park a school tour, sort of. And it was very interesting to hear what all they had to say. They were very knowledgeable about all different aspects of the schoolhouse, the Gilbert and the Victorian. Those are the three that we saw. They did a great job. I wish more people had an opportunity to go and do something like that. And it took, 45 minutes, maybe that long. And so it was, you gain a lot of knowledge if you, and I'm always amazed at the number of people I hear that live in Farmers Branch and have for years, and they're like, we have a historical park? Where have you been living? Where is the rock you're under? Because, but there are people that do not know we have that.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any other events? Okay, if not, let's go to C9, discuss potential agenda items for future meetings.
So we're not meeting in July, and we'll meet in August.
Correct.
So then I'd like to go ahead and add community gardens as a topic for discussion, just in terms of, we already talked about that earlier, but just in terms of if you're to find out what the locations are, then if you could just share that with us, or else, just so we can go check it out.
Okay.
And then updates on Hoya Dutch Squire, all the,
Yeah.
Park projects, yep.
so the,
And I guess we'll also get feedback on all these 9 different events too. That'll be,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
I can't work on
our
it.
summer of fun.
Yeah,
Well, and just to let you know, I mean, July is the National Parks and Rec. That's every year, July is that month. So we'll probably from here on out have a push to, recognize that. And then we are gonna do kind of we're gonna try and do something, remember at the last council meeting to do kind of a proclamation, but we're gonna do that as part of the pool 10-year on July 10th. So all you guys can come out, do a quick photo op and then we'll.
It's something the department has always wanted to do, but with summer being our peakest for here and out of the parks, with everything dried out and the aquatic center, it's a lot. And so the team decided to take the challenge and do it this year. And so at all of these different events, you'll notice that they're probably put on by maybe the Branch Connection or the aquatic center, or the recreation center. But we're also gonna have park staff because I think it's super important, because without the park staff, we wouldn't have parks and recreation. So there will be park staff at each of these pop-ups as well, so they can also be recognized for their hard work and dedication. And we're hoping to gain a lot of momentum. Maybe we can incorporate some of these pop-ups at our already established events. I'm really excited about the family, field day. Cause I could see us maybe possibly doing like a glow in the dark out at, the baseball, softball fields, family field day over there. So there's lots of opportunities that can come out of this. So, the whole team, we're really excited and pumped and ready for July and all of the festivities.
yeah, you got a lot going on.
Yes.
I'm sure. Anybody else have any other comments? If not, can we have a motion to end the meeting? So Barbara made the motion. Who can second? Jan seconded the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you.